Alright, let's see, I just modified this drawing a little bit, trying to move everything around so that it makes a little more sense and you can see what I'm doing. I don't know if you can see everything all at once. Probably not. Can you see everything in there? Wow. Hopefully you can see it. This whole this is going to be about Tetra chords. What the heck are Tetra chords? Heck, I don't know what Tetra chords are. Tetra chords are something. Alright, you look down at the bottom, you see I listed the key of C, the key down in the blue, right over here. Let me show you. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. What the heck is that? Those are called Tetra chords. I don't know what it means. I don't really care. Just another way to figure out notes in the key. I'm just going to show this to you so you're aware of it. I'm probably never going to use it, but it is usable if you want to get into it or try to understand it more. Now, you look at the, is it showing up at the, I'm trying to see what I can see on the camera. All right. What they did is they said, you look at the, don't look at the red. Remember I put the minors in there in the last video? Well, just ignore that for now. Key of C, the first four notes of the key of C are C, D, E, and F. C, D, E, and F. First four notes of D, D, E, F sharp, G. So it appears that the first four notes of each key allow you to do this tetrachord, figuring out what notes are in the scale for each key. As I was looking at it, I also noticed it's really the whole same thing as the whole, half. Whole, half. You go over here, B, whole would be C, C sharp, so that's the first whole. C sharp, D, D sharp, that's your next whole. And your half, D, half over is E. So you've got the, I don't know if this video is going to make much sense because I just learned this and I'm going to try to explain it as I'm doing it, as I'm kind of reading it off the chart. And it is another way to figure out the notes, as I said, but I don't really think I don't really care about it. I'm not going to use it. Oh, getting an email over there. All right, so the whole idea behind this tetrachord thing is, okay, you've got the first notes, the first four notes of the key of C. Now, this is going to come in play when I show you the circle of fifths, which really makes no sense in the beginning. I probably spent like 2 or 3 hours a night for about 2 weeks going all over the web trying to understand this whole circle of fifths. And I'm like, wow, this is really starting to make sense. A useful tool that you also really don't need, because once you understand this chart, unless you're writing music, you're probably never going to use the circle of fifths. Unless you're writing music, all you really need to know is what notes go in the key that I'm going to play in. And I'm never going to advance. I'm not going to be a professional player. I got a ton of songs that I've written that I've posted on YouTube that I made up. A bunch of junk, a bunch of celebrity garbage that I put on there. And I'm going to get a sip of water. I'm able to write words to songs, which I can do, and people I know who've been playing for 35, 40 years can't do it. So my writing skill for words is good, and I'm able to figure out patterns for minors and majors, and so and that's about where I want to stay. I'm not going to play in a band. I'm not going to play with a group of people. I just want to know how to be able to play. And originally, like I said in my previous videos, I started out with the key of C. I was happy with that. I stayed in the first 5 frets. I was happy with that. And I didn't want to learn. I said I wasn't going to learn theory. Well, I've taught myself theory. I've gone past the first 5 frets. I've only gone up to about fret 9 or so. Going above the 9th fret on my acoustic is so hard to do, and I don't see the point of it now. I said that before, but I really don't see the point of it going past that. I don't want to learn 11ths and 13ths and 9ths, and I just don't want to do that stuff. I want to be able to play music and enjoy what I'm playing and have a good time at home. Okay, so now that I've rambled on about that, this tetrachord garbage that I'm just going to try to explain it to you. Later on, you're going to understand the whole idea of the circle of fifths, difference between, let's see, C, to G is a fifth. 1, 2, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So C to G is a fifth, and that's later on down the line when I do the circle of fifths, you're going to start to see the circle, and you're going to see why this is the order of the circle of fifths. C to G is 5 steps. G to D, 1, 2, 3, God, where is that? G. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. That C is duplicated over there. So it's 5 steps. C to G is 5 steps. G to D is 5 steps. D to A is 5 steps. Later on down the line, that's the circle of fifths. This is the pattern that I'll show you, and so at least you have an idea why this chart is written in this order. If you scatter this chart, it would not work at all with this Tetra chord garbage. Okay, so what are the notes in the key of C? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And remember, I told you, you can figure out the notes, but if you don't start doing the minors, you can't really play C, D, E, F, G, A, B in a song. It's not going to sound right. You start throwing your minors in that fit into the pattern I showed you in the previous video, and you'll have a cool song. Okay, so the main notes in the key of C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Key of G, G, A, B, C. Yeah, you can see it over there. Okay, so the key of C, C, D, E, F. The key of G, G, A, B, C. Okay, so you take this, and what do we have for the notes in the key of C? Well, you attach these two over here. Notes in the key of C, you add this over here. G, A, B, C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Pretty cool. Yeah, it's a numbers game, I guess. Who really cares? Key of G, G, A, B, C. Key of D, D, E, F, G. You take this, and now you have the notes in the key of G. Starting to see the pattern? And then you've got D to A, because remember these are the first 4 notes in the scale up there, first 4 notes. A, B, C. Just another way to figure out how to do something. Once you understand it, kind of cool, then you can just print out your chart and start learning all the notes that you really need to learn, and what goes in which keys, so that when you play a song, normally, if you played for a while, you know, you can just listen to a song and go, it's got to be either C, F, or G, D minor, E minor, and A minor. Well, if you can't memorize it, then just look at your little chart and go, I want to play in the key of A. So it's got to be one of these 6 notes, A, D, E, the 3 majors in that key, or B minor, C sharp minor, and F sharp minor for your minors, and you'll be able to figure out what notes to play in that key. Now, here's the same lame thing that I'm trying to explain to you. What's in the key of A? Well, you look at A and E. You get A, B, C sharp, D, and you take what's below that, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. So we get A. Put this down so I can. You get A in the key of A. You have a B, B over there, C sharp, D, E, F sharp. Why didn't I list the G sharp over there? No, I screwed something up. Yeah, I totally screwed something up. I'm missing something. What am I missing here? A, B, C, D, D. Well, something's totally screwed up here right now. Which means that this thing is completely, is that right? A? I don't know. Well, it's not working now. Okay, so this video is totally gay. I'm missing something. I don't really see where I'm missing it. Yeah, I really don't see where I'm missing it. Where am I missing it? E, F. Well, I'm missing it because I'm half asleep is where I'm missing it. The G sharp over there. Okay, so that's right. A. That's like E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. And then we'll do one more, and then I'll get off of this ridiculous thing. Okay, do one more. So the key of E, which I love. Take the first four of the key of B, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. Let's go over to key of E, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and then E, which takes you back to E over there, which you don't need. All right, so, and then you could go in there and throw in your minors if you wanted to. That's just another way to do to figure out this whole thing, this junk I've been teaching you. I'm going to shut off the video now. I'm going to go over and I think I'm going to start doing the circle of fifths next. Circle of fifths is totally cool. I did a video on it saying big waste of time. Well, it is a big waste of time, but it's also a fascinating waste of time. And it helps you understand some of this a little better. What else do I want to do? I wish I had a better camera setup so I could keep the upper part up there with the notes. But hopefully you've watched the video. If any of these videos are helping you, remember I'm going to break this up into a whole series of videos. So if you came up to this video, there are others ahead of this that will explain why we got to this point. I'm going to do the circle of fifths next, and the circle of fifths, circle of fourths, whatever you want to call it, it's the exact, it shows you how to do this thing in seconds. It really shows you how to do this in seconds. This chart that I've got over here, the one going over here, if you want to, write this out on a sheet of paper. Write this part out on a sheet of paper. Your majors, C, F, G, and your minors. Write this out in this order right now. From here to here to here. Write this out on a sheet of paper, and when we get to the circle of fifths, this tetra stuff, you understand it, hopefully. You don't really need it. As long as you understand this, that's the most important thing. So you understand this. You can do this anywhere. You can grab a sheet of paper, do your whole half, whole half, figure out what this is. You're not always going to have your circle of fifths. You might not have a sheet of paper, but as long as you know how to do this, you can do this anywhere if you want to figure out what notes are in a certain key. I'm going to do the circle of fifths now, and I'm going to shut off this video and get a sip of water, and I'll be back in a few. All right, I'm back with my music theory tutorial here. Hopefully you've watched the other tutorials so that you understand what all this junk is that I've got up on my front door over here. I showed you originally the whole idea behind the whole half, and how to figure out what notes are in each key. As you can see up at the top, we've got the whole half part, and instead of doing holes, I just made everything halves, and then, well, if you watch the video, it makes sense to you. And then a little bit later on in the next video, you can see on the middle of this chart, I threw all those notes into, put all the keys on the left, and then I put all the notes in the scale for each key. And then in the second, third, and sixth columns, I threw all the minors in there. And then I got rid of the seventh column of notes because it really didn't sound right in each key. And so if you look at the chart now, which I've repeated over and over, you've got, in the key of C, you've got 3 majors and 3 minors. And those are mostly what you're going to play in 95% of the music you play in the key of C. Which is not to say that you're not going to play, you're not going to throw other notes in there, but this is for a majority of what you're going to do. And it's just a way for you to understand a little bit of music theory. And then for the key of D, same thing. You have 3 majors and you have 3 minors. Same thing all the way across. You got 3 majors and 3 minors. So if you play in the key of C, that's mostly what you're going to play in 95% of your music. Key of B, you're going to play these 3 majors, these 3 minors, C sharp minor, D sharp minor, G sharp minor, B, E, and F sharp. All right, so I spent about 2 videos, probably 40 minutes explaining how you start off with all this stuff and how you end up coming up with this chart. And then I find that there's this thing called the circle of fifths, and I've just, hopefully you can read it. I printed it out and zoomed, enlarged it. I don't really want to write this thing out on another sheet of paper. You find it on the internet. This is the circle of fifths. And when I first looked at that, I went, all right, that's really cool. Big waste of time. Who really cares? Doesn't teach me anything. I don't really need it. And you kind of do and you don't. You don't really need any of this stuff. Once you don't even need any of this. All you need to do is figure out, you need this chart. Once you know this chart, memorize this thing, memorize what notes are in. If you just want to play in the key of C for your whole life, you probably know all these notes. You didn't know why you were playing those notes in a song, but now you understand why those notes always work in a key of C or key of G, D or key of G, which most of us learn when we first start off. We don't know that, like with me, I started playing songs in C, and I'm, God, this is really cool. And then one day I saw something on the net, and I started playing the song, and I'm wondering, well, it sounds really good. I'm using D and G and A, and I'm B minor and F sharp minor, which I love, and I really like this song. And it took me a long time to realize, even though I had done transposing and kind of understood it, took me a long time to realize that all this really neat song that I was playing, I could just throw it into the key of C, and I knew all of these notes. Very easy to play. And the same thing with G. I noticed I was doing a lot of B minor. I was doing a song that I played. I was going from D, a lot of D, and B minor and G, and I didn't know why. I didn't know that I could just transfer it up to the key of C. But now that I know what I'm doing, like I had said in the other video, I can't stand the key of C. The key of G is okay because I love the sound of B minor. Key of D, I love going from B minor to F sharp minor. Beautiful. That's the only reason to do the key of D. What do I really like? My favorite are B, E, and A. C sharp minor is without a doubt one of the most intense, deep minors on the guitar. When I was at my guitar shop, when I was having him adjust my guitar, and let me just say that when I bought a guitar, I bought a few guitars to teach myself how to play. I'm all self-taught, and I didn't see the point of spending $50 to have my guitar set up at a guitar shop. And so I didn't do it. And then after 2 years of playing, I decided, why not? Let me take the guitar over there and see if he can do something. If he can adjust the strap, put the strap peg into another part of the guitar. And I decided to spend the $50 to have the thing set up. What an incredible difference. Instead of struggling to do all my bar chords, I was able to play them 100% easier. I was able to slide up and down the neck without a problem. My open chords, so much easier to do. Well worth the $50. Take your guitar to a guitar shop and let them set the thing up. You'll be so happy you did. I can't believe I wasted 2 years of struggling for $50. I took the thing home, I played it, I went, this is incredible. I got my other guitar and took it over there and said, adjust this thing. And then I had a piece of garbage guitar. I didn't really want to throw it away. I don't really like playing it much, but for $50, I'd rather spend $50 and have it usable instead of dump it. So setup is really important. Okay, sorry I got off on track over there. Circle of fifths. How much time do I have on this video? Because I'm rambling and rambling. Circle of fifths. Remember, we wasted all this time coming up with all of these notes. Then you got the circle of fifths, fifths and fourths. Why do they call it the circle of fifths? I didn't understand that either. C, D, E, F, G. From C to G is 5 steps. C, D, E, F, G. Circle of fifths. From G to D, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the idea. It's 5 steps. Each note is 5 steps up when you're going clockwise. Some people do this chart backwards, or they do it left-handed, where the G is on this side and the F is on this side. It doesn't really matter. Circle of fifths. This way it's the circle of fourths, because if you go from C to F, C, D, E, F. 4 steps. C, D, E, F. Circle of fourths. C to G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Circle of fifths. Okay, we've wasted 40 minutes trying to figure out all of this junk. And yeah, it was a definite waste, but you needed to understand how this whole thing worked. And now we look at the circle of fifths. You're going to look at this and you're going to go, I can't believe this. It is so easy. The circle of fifths. What are our major chords in the key of C? C, F, and G. Those are the three major chords. Minor chords D, E, and A. Let's go over to this really cool circle of fifths. Circle of fifths. Let's start off at C. What are our major chords? C, F, G. If you're at the key of C, your major chords are this little pile over here of three. Major chords C, F, and G, and your minors, D minor, E minor, A minor, are right there. 95% of the notes you're going to play in the key of C are in one top over here, C in your minor, and you're to the left and you're to the right. I know you're probably like I was. I just thought, wow, I wasted all this time, and then they've got this chart here. Well, the circle of fifths is really cool because it explains that you could carry this thing and you wouldn't have to have this wussy-ass gauge chart over here. But either way, let's try to understand the circle of fifths more, because when I first looked at it, I had no clue what they were doing. It made no sense at all to me. Key of G. Key of G, your main majors, G, C, and D. Key of G. Out here, G, C, and D. The fifth of G and the fourth of G. And then you've got your majors, A minor, B minor, and E minor. A minor, B minor, and E minor. You see how easy that is? So 95% of the notes in G, in the key of G, are going to be there. It's the same for the whole thing. If you wanted to play in the key of A, you start off at A, and you go up to the left one and down one. Majors A, D, and E. Minors C sharp minor, F sharp minor, B sharp minor. It's incredible how easy this is to do. It really is. It's just amazing how easy this is. So if you keep this chart handy, you won't have to have this big mess. But there's nothing wrong with having this big mess, so at least you understand it. It goes all the way around the chart. Let's do one more. B. What's the key of B that I told you I love? B, G sharp minor, F sharp, D sharp minor, E, C sharp minor. So the 40 minutes of time understanding what this is now shows up in a chart where you just take out the pi of 3, and there you go. Now, what else did I learn yesterday? Oh yeah, I learned something. Okay, I didn't know this. Spending, like I told you, 2 weeks on the internet doing research on all of this. And yeah, it's really neat because they've got the minors in there. But I didn't understand this at the time. But it is really kind of cool. Remember we were talking about, let's take the C. See, I'm getting really tired, you can tell. I'm not thinking clear and standing up here for an hour. So I'm going to shut this video off in a minute. We got the key of C. C, F, G, A minor, E minor, and D minor. C, and your major is one to the left. This is a different way to look at it. C, next major is F, next major is G, and then your minors are D minor, A minor, E minor. So if you don't want to use this stuff in the middle, it's already here for you. So you take your major key, G, other major would be C, other major would be D, and your minors in the key of G are 3 down, A minor, E minor, and B minor. Totally cool. Totally, totally cool. What else do I want to teach you about this? Because there's just a lot to learn, and once you understand it, like I said, you go, okay, now I understand it. I don't know if I really need any of it, but at least you understand it. Okay, circle the fifths. We got all this stuff around here. You got C. C has no, remember we have C to E, F, G, A, B. There's no sharps, no flats. You look up at the top, no sharps, no flats. Circle of fifths, at least this circle of fifths chart, it shows G has 1 sharp. Let's go over here, G. G had 1 sharp. Remember, G had an F sharp. I'm going to show you something else that's really cool in a minute. And as you notice, you get 0 flats and sharps, 1 sharp, 2 sharps, 3 sharps, 4 sharps, 5 sharps, 6, 1 flat. Let's look at F. So F has 1 flat. Well, if you look over at the key over here, it's got the B flat that I showed you before. D has 2 sharps. Let's look at the key of D. Do I have them here? F sharp, and then we have C sharp, which we stopped using because it was in the wrong column. So all of this is really in this chart. Hopefully that made sense. It took me weeks to figure this out on the net. That's just another way to understand it and to make things easier for you. So again, if you're in, you figure out which key you want to play in. Let's play in the key of A. It's an A major. The next major is going to be 1 up and 1 down. A major, D major, E major, and your minors are going to be F sharp minor, B minor, and C sharp minor. Or A, D, and E, and then B minor, F sharp minor, and D flat would be C sharp, and that would be C sharp minor. Okay, hopefully that makes a lot of sense to you. There's one more thing I think I want to add. I'm trying to think of what the heck it is. Oh, I learned this last night. Totally cool. Let's see. Where can I write this? Trying to see on the camera. Do we have space? Yeah, this video. I got like 7 more minutes. Okay. F, C, G, D, A, E, B. And then B, E, A. That's backwards. All right. I'll explain this to you in a minute. B, E, A, D, G, C, F. All right. What the heck does that mean? F, C, G, D, A, E, B, and then backwards. You could either go backwards or you could start over here. B, E, A, D, D, and then you've got G over there. C, you got your F over here. All right, I'm totally anti-religion, but if you look at this video, I mean, if you look at this chart, easy way to remember this thing, the one that I saw on the net, is Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. And then the reverse of that is battle ends and down goes Charles' father. I don't know if you want to memorize that stuff, but if you memorize this stuff, then you could just draw this chart up by memory pretty much, and you wouldn't even need anything in the middle. You could just draw out this chart and then figure out all your notes. Okay, so what's the whole point of this Father Charles goes down and ends battle? It's something I learned last night as I was going back in and trying to understand this a little more. You look at C, no sharps, no flats. You look at G, 1 sharp. Remember, this comes to this. So you're at G and you have 1 sharp. What's the sharp? The sharp is the first one over there. So you've got, we're in the key of G. What's the sharp? F sharp. And you can go by this chart and come up with all the other notes that are in the key, and you'll know that the only sharp you're going to have is F sharp in the key of G. In the key of D, you've got 2 sharps. The sharps are going to be F sharp and C sharp. 3 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp are going to be in the key of A. The key of E, well, you're starting to get the idea, I think. Let's go backwards. We've got the key of F. The key of F has 1 flat. So we're on the flat side now. These are sharps, these are flats, the key of F. Key of F has one flat. That flat's got to be B flat. Key of F is our B flat or A sharp over there. So really cool, all of this stuff when you put it all together, the original, how we did the halves and wholes, and then came up with the columns with the minors, And then I did this lame Terra chord thing, which that was just to show you really don't need that. And then the circle of fourths and fifths. And I think that's really all I wanted to explain for this music theory. Hopefully you benefited from this. God, I've been doing this thing for like, what, an hour and a half now. It took me 4 or 5 hours to write all this stuff out so that I could know what I wanted to explain to everybody. And that is probably 2 or 3 weeks worth of looking all this stuff up, just trying to understand it. So, let's go back over here. If you're ever going to, if you want to learn to play in different keys, just remember you have 3 majors and 3 minors for each key that you're going to want to worry about for now. Remember, I showed you that the 7th, but you don't really need that. This is really what you need, at least to start off with guitar really well and be able to sit down and play in different keys and start to understand some of this music theory that's really confusing for all of us. And you can also do that, like I said, you take your major key, one on the left, one on the right. Those are going to be your 3 majors, and below those are going to be your 3 minors for that key. Or, how I explained it before, you could take your major, and then your 3 minors will be on the outer ring. So, all right, I hope you benefited from this. I'm going to go throw all this stuff into a video editing program and spend the next, I don't know how many hours uploading this nightmare onto YouTube. And if you got any benefit out of it, at least leave me a comment. If I made a mistake, leave me a comment. If you hated what I did, leave me a comment. But I'm just doing this so that I can pass along some of my knowledge that took me forever to understand. And watch the video often if you don't understand it. Watch it over and over and over, because everything that I explained here is what is explained in probably 75 videos that I watched, that it just took me so long to put it all together. And as long as I put it all together so that it makes sense to somebody, even one person, as long as one person gets something out of it, good for you, good for me, and enjoy playing your guitar. I'm sure a lot of this stuff will probably work with other music. I don't know if it works with piano. It probably does. But at least figuring out the notes. But definitely this is mostly for guitar people, because I know it works on guitar, and that's it. All right, I'm going to load this stuff up. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving 2012 to everybody. And that's it.